President Donald Trump began the week with a mixture of domestic fire and international focus. Standing at the White House, he repeated familiar complaints about media bias, warning that networks give only bad publicity, and even hinting that broadcasting licenses might be reconsidered. But while his attacks on American media echoed past controversies, the real story was taking shape thousands of miles away, with a phone call that could define US-China relations for the year ahead. That call was with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and according to Trump, it was both productive and progressive. He used his own platform, Truth Social, to declare that the two leaders had made headway on a host of issues: trade, the war in Ukraine, the fentanyl epidemic, and the still unresolved question of TikTok's future in the United States. In Beijing, officials described the exchange as positive and constructive. Xi himself underscored the need to follow market rules and avoid turning the TikTok issue into a tool of political pressure. His comments also extended beyond technology, as he echoed Brazil's President Lula in calling for unity on the crises in Ukraine and Gaza. These remarks underscored China's growing efforts to portray itself as a stabilizing voice in a fractured global landscape. At the center of the drama is TikTok, the wildly popular social media platform. For the United States, TikTok represents more than dance videos and viral trends. To Washington policymakers, it is a security risk, a potential channel for surveillance, and a symbol of foreign influence over American youth. For Beijing, TikTok is a crown jewel of its tech industry, proof that Chinese innovation can rival and even outpace Silicon Valley. Trump has postponed the US ban on TikTok 4 times. Each delay reveals the complicated mix of politics and economics shaping the decision. Under a law passed during Joe Biden's presidency, TikTok cannot legally operate in the US unless its Chinese parent company sells majority control to American owners. The enforcement of that law has become a delicate balancing act, one in which Trump wields both the carrot of negotiation and the stick of prohibition. For Xi, agreeing to a forced sale of TikTok would be a humiliating concession. For Trump, letting the app continue without safeguards could be framed as weakness. That tension is why this phone call and the upcoming meeting at the Asia-Pacific Summit in South Korea matters so deeply. Beyond TikTok, the call touched on trade, another long-running fault line. Trump's political career was built on promises to get tough on China. Tariffs, disputes over intellectual property, and battles over technology access have defined the relationship for years. Now, as the global economy faces headwinds, each side is maneuvering for advantage. The US wants China to buy more American goods: soybeans, corn, Boeing aircraft. China wants relief from tariffs and restrictions on access to advanced semiconductors. The announcement of progress suggests that negotiators are working on frameworks to present at the APEC summit in Seoul. Yet seasoned observers warn that breakthroughs are unlikely. Both leaders are entering the talks with domestic pressures that limit their room for compromise. Another issue highlighted in Trump's statement was fentanyl. This synthetic opioid has devastated American communities, with overdoses killing tens of thousands each year. Much of the supply originates from precursor chemicals manufactured in China before being shipped to Mexico and then trafficked into the US. Trump has demanded stronger action from Beijing, portraying the crisis not only as a law enforcement problem but as a matter of national security. For Xi, fentanyl represents a sensitive subject. Chinese officials resist being cast as the sole source of the problem and prefer to frame the issue as an opportunity for cooperation rather than confrontation. Whether the two sides can find common ground on this deeply painful crisis remains uncertain, but the fact that it was included in their call highlights its political weight. The Ukraine war also surfaced during the conversation. Trump has promised repeatedly to end the WR quickly if given the chance, though he has not explained how such a resolution would be achieved. Xi, meanwhile, aligns himself with Brazil and other global South nations calling for negotiations, positioning China as a mediator skeptical of Western sanctions. Both leaders see Ukraine not only as a conflict, but as a stage for projecting influence. Trump in his effort to portray himself as a peacemaker, Xi in his campaign to build alternatives to Western dominance. Interestingly, Xi also referenced Gaza in his remarks, stressing unity on the Middle East conflict. This comment, though brief, reflects China's ambition to expand its image as a global diplomatic player. For Trump, Gaza remains a secondary issue, but the timing of these discussions, amid heightened global conflict, underscores the scale of the agenda both leaders are juggling. The phone call did not stop at current disputes. Trump announced future plans. He will travel to China in early 2026, while Xi will come to the United States at the appropriate time. These reciprocal visits, if they materialize, would mark a significant reset in US-China relations, opening the door to more direct engagement after years of strained dialogue. The upcoming Asia-Pacific Summit in Seoul will be the first test. Scheduled for late October, it will provide Trump and Xi with an international platform to project cooperation or expose division. The stakes are high, markets will be watching, allies will be listening, and adversaries will be calculating. For Trump, the timing could not be more politically charged. His domestic agenda is dominated by confrontations with the media, investigations, and controversies that echo his first term. By spotlighting foreign policy victories, or at least the promise of them, he strengthens his narrative as a deal maker on the world stage. His opening attack on media licenses, which framed this very news cycle, serves to remind his supporters that he remains combative and unfiltered. For Xi, the calculus is different, but no less significant. China's economy is facing slowing growth, youth unemployment, and demographic challenges. Demonstrating constructive dialogue with the US allows Beijing to signal stability to global investors and to its own citizens. At the same time, Xi must show that China will not bend to American pressure, especially on issues like TikTok. The symbolism of the TikTok debate goes far beyond one app. Around the world, governments are grappling with how to regulate foreign technology while protecting national interests. Europe debates its own restrictions. Africa and Latin America look to China as a model for digital development. Whether the US forces TikTok into American ownership or whether a compromise is reached, the precedent will shape global norms on technology governance. This is why the October summit matters. It is not simply a bilateral meeting. It is a stage where digital platforms, global wars, and economic disputes converge into a single narrative of rivalry and interdependence. Trump insists that progress has been made. Xi describes the dialogue as constructive. Both leaders know the importance of projecting optimism, even if the details remain contested. But history has shown that optimism in US-China relations is fragile. A single flare-up, a military incident in the South China Sea, a tariff announcement, or a sharp word over Taiwan could unravel months of preparation. Still, the fact that Trump and Xi are speaking directly marks a significant shift from years of escalating hostility. It signals a recognition that neither side can afford total decoupling. For Trump, who will travel to China early next year, the hope is that face-to-face diplomacy can turn symbolic progress into tangible agreements. For Xi, the goal is to prove that China can stand firm while engaging constructively. As the TikTok logo flashes on office walls, as Truth Social posts circulate online, and as archival images of state dinners remind the world of past pageantry, the narrative of US-China relations enters a new phase. It is a phase marked by cautious engagement, lingering suspicion, and the awareness that global audiences are watching every word, every handshake, every pause. From media controversies in Washington to social media bans, from fentanyl crises to foreign wars, the stakes of this relationship are vast. The Asia-Pacific Summit in Seoul will not resolve every issue, but it will provide a glimpse into whether Trump and Xi can translate words into action, and whether TikTok becomes a symbol of compromise or a flashpoint of confrontation. For now, the world waits. Trump says the call was good. Xi says it was constructive. Both leaders promise to meet again. And somewhere between optimism and rivalry lies the uncertain future of US-China relations.